Got here an old book, The Richest Man in Babylon. I'm going to read a passage from this. This is about money, but in a moment we're going to tie this into strength and capability, because there's a big overlap. In old Babylon there lived a certain very rich man named Arkad. Far and wide he was famed for his great wealth. Also he was famed for his liberality. He was generous in his charities, he was generous with his family, he was liberal in his own expenses, but nevertheless, each year his wealth increased more rapidly than he had spent it. There were certain friends of younger days who came to him and said, "You, Arkad, are more fortunate than we. You have become the richest man in all Babylon while we struggle for existence. You can wear the finest garments and you can enjoy the rarest foods, while we must be content if we can to clothe our families in raiment that is presentable and feed them as best we can. Yet once we were equal. We studied under the same master, we played in the same games, and in neither the studies nor the games did you outshine us. And in the years since, you have been no more an honourable citizen than we are, nor have you worked harder or more faithfully, insofar as we can judge. Why then should a fickle fate single you out to enjoy all the good things of life, and ignore us, who are so equally deserving?" Thereupon Arkad remonstrated with them, saying, "If you have not acquired more than a bare existence in the years since we were youth, it is because you have either failed to learn the laws that govern the building of wealth, or else you do not observe them." Now you might wonder, what does that have to do with movement and in strength? There's something that happens around what people tend to call middle age, but it seems to be happening earlier and earlier. Let's say early to mid 30s through to mid to late 40s. There's this period where in general the weight starts to creep on, pain starts to niggle its way into daily life. We're just less capable and less able to do the things that we want to do without having to sort of think about it. People make a joke about that, the old man noises when you're getting up out of the couch. And we sort of chalk that up to old age, where we're getting old, and there's this inevitable decline that starts around 30, the ripe old age of 30, where we start to sort of fall apart. But not for all of us. And so you might think about the discussion that was being had between this man Arkad and his friends, talking about wealth and why he gets to enjoy the boons of fate, to still be strong, indeed to be growing stronger with each year rather than sort of falling apart. And if you look at it as just the fickleness of fate, then it's not anything that Arkad's friends are doing that's contributing to the decline. It's just the decline of old age, and Arkad is the exception to the rule. But as Arkad wisely sort of highlights there, let's go back to it. So it's because you have either failed to learn the laws that govern the building of wealth, or you do not observe them. And we could flip that around to say it's because you have either failed to learn the laws that govern your body, or else you do not observe them, that things are starting to fall apart. And so the thing that I really want to get across is that while decline to a certain extent is inevitable over time with age, the rate of decline which we experience is entirely dependent on the things that we do or don't do. And I would also say that if that decline is noticeable at 30, 35 to 45, then that's not a sign of time. It's a sign of the things that we've done and what we've chosen to spend that time on. Much the same way that Arkad's message is about, it's the things you've chosen to spend your money on. and it's the lack of savings that has contributed to the decline that his friends has experienced, or the stagnation, while he has seemed to grow and to prosper. And it is very much the same. And so we live in a society where there's a lot of debt, where people take money out and they borrow money to live a certain lifestyle and to enjoy a certain lifestyle. If you keep taking out debt and you exceed your earnings, you can dig a pretty bad hole where you start to be running from the debt collector, in a sense, where you're trying to stay one step ahead, and all of your work is not to build, it's to just slightly fill in the hole so that you can get your head up above to breathe the air, which is not a fun place to be. As you would know if you've been there, it's not a good place, and if you're there, of course. But we're kind of doing that every day with our little choices, with a lot of our comfort-based choices, where we're choosing comfort, where comfort's not a bad thing in itself. Comfort's nice. It's comfortable. But if we wake up and we choose comfort every day to excess, where we're taking that comfort out on tick. We're taking that comfort out. That comfort is a debt against the quality of our future life. We're enjoying today a lack of work, a lack of effort, a lack of discomfort, which one day has to be paid by the future us. Whereas if we just do a little bit, if we put money in the bank, we save, if we do a little bit of activity every day, we can start to increase our balance sheet, and we can start to enjoy a better quality of life over time. And that way, when we take comfort, we look at that as a spending. So you enjoy something, so you go out, I'm going to rest today, I'm going to sit on the couch, or I'm going to eat something off the normal menu. I'm not going into debt. I look at my balance sheet and I can see where I'm at, and I'm comfortable in making that choice because it's not taking from future me. I've built up a surplus and I can take a little bit, and I'm still going to improve year after year, and it's not going to knock me off the course. And you don't need to go crazy with it. People do a lot of this yo-yo stuff where you wake up suddenly and it'll hit home the ramifications of your choices that have accumulated over time, and you just want to snap yourself out of it very quick. But you don't need to go crazy with it. Any time is a good time to start. The best time is yesterday, but the next best time is today. Here's another quote from Arkad giving his friend some advice, and this one I think really fits in. It says, "Wealth, like a tree, grows from a tiny seed. The first copper you save is the seed from which your tree of wealth shall grow. The sooner you plant that seed, the sooner that your tree will grow. And the more faithfully you nourish and water that tree with consistent savings, the sooner you may bask in contentment beneath its shade." And that's a metaphor for practice, I think. So it's for savings, of course. Put that money away, but practice is money in the bank. And strength and capability and quality of life, that's a tree which grows from that seed of practice that you plant from getting started, and you nourish every day by showing up and just doing a little bit. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need to kill yourself to make it happen, because it's not a rush. It's if there should be a rush, it should be a rush to get started. But once you've gotten started, all you need to do is just keep showing up. And every day you show up is money in the bank. And over time that will start to compound and get bigger and bigger and become a self-driven process that takes care of you. You nurture it at the start. It takes a bit of time to sort of to build it, but then one day you might have people coming up to you and saying, "Oh, well, what are you doing? It must be nice. It must be nice for you because of your genetics or for whatever reason that they come up with that you are in a different place." But you'll know better, because it's none of that. And while you can sort of get away with that sort of stuff, you can get away with genetics when you're younger. But it's incidentally, it's around that time when you're looking at 30, 35, it seems to be that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. If you've been chipping away and doing all the right things, and it's just you just cruise on through. But if you've been borrowing against the quality of your future life, that's when it's all going to start to come due. And so you get hit with a choice, and that choice is to either keep driving yourself into debt and speed up the spiral down, or you can show up for yourself and you can start putting money in the bank, and it'll be slow. It'll be slow at the start. It's taken a long time to get to a point where it feels like everything's starting to break. But if you show up every day and you just keep putting in that money, just keep chipping it away, paying yourself first, as he calls it in this, taking that time, small amount of time, 10% of your money, they say 10% of your day. Take 10% of your day, pay yourself first before you sell it off to someone else. If you do that, then you'll be surprised at the changes that can come from that. It's a very simple principle. It applies to finance, it applies to life and movement.